There's a paralysis in the streets and folks are not able to get where they need to go, do what they need to do. And this is directly because of the high fuel prices. We can call it something else, but that's exactly what the reason is. So today, off the roads again, and we're having a conversation about what the problem is and how it needs to be solved. In the hot seats of the Situation Room at this time, Kevin Mubadi is the chair of the Boda Boda Association of Kenya, and he's in the hot seat with us this morning. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Also, Joseph Karanja is the chairman of the Kenya Independent Petroleum Distributors Association, KIPEDA, also here with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for being with us today. We're going to be looking into some of these things. We're at fever pitch now, and things don't look really good. There is no consensus in terms of how this can be sorted out. So when it will be, we're going to get insights this morning. But before we do, Dennis is going to welcome you with today's proverb. Let's get into the mode of conversation.
Yes.
He'll tell you where it's from. We'd love to get what you think about it.
So today we are in Gabon, a country that is considered to be the lung of the continent or the world pretty much because of the forest cover that they do have in the country. Also in terms of nuclear energy that the world now is rushing towards, right? They have a natural nuclear reactor that is just given to them by God. Exploration is going towards tapping that and having that into the grid system. They are also heavy on fuel resources because they have that and they're mining it and using that as well to push the economy. But the proverb that we have this morning, a fool looks for dung where the cow never browsed. A fool looks for dung where the cow never browsed. Joseph, how do you interpret it?
Oh, thank you very much, first of all, for having me here. And I feel good. That is a very good and very strong proverb.
Yes.
Because that is exactly maybe where we are. Because when you expect something which you never worked for or, is not supposed to be there, you can't find it.
Yeah.
So when you are looking for a smooth life in Kenya, flowing production, and you never planned for it, you never invested in it, then I think you are living in a lie.
You're living a lie.
Yes.
Kevin, how would you interpret it?
I think it shows that someone who looks for things where it isn't. Maybe there's nothing there, but you are pretending to look for it, believing that you can find it, and yet it is not there. You know that it's not there, but you are trying to pretend to find it. Yeah.
Well said, well interpreted.
Is there a solution that's being sought for the fuel crisis in the country that's not there? And are we looking and saying, okay, there's a solution, but we can't find it? What is going on? Let's come from your point of view, Joseph, first of all, with what we see going on. There was hope that after this long meeting, easily 4 hours of a meeting, that they were going to come out of it and say, okay, you know what? The transport industry has said we're going to go back. This transport is just not Matatus. Kevin was in that meeting, the one earlier in the day and then later on. And the hope was that, okay, they're going to come out of this and maybe we're going to see a reduction. Because let's not get it twisted. A reduction is what is being sought after. These prices are too high. We're not saying, oh, come and tell us why. The prices are too high. Why is it not possible from a fuel distributor's point of view? Why couldn't we get an answer yesterday?
Thank you very much, and a very good question. I personally have been in this industry for a long, long time. And when some of these things, some of these policies were being, set up, I could participate here and there. And there are things that we talked about. There are things that we even proposed. Even when you hear about public participation, there are things which are aired. There are things which are, presented. But they're never taken seriously. They are not implemented, such that now for us, we're just seeing the results. We are just seeing the fruits of ignorance, the fruits of just putting other people's ideas aside, So I'm not very surprised, and I still don't see a lasting solution unless things are overhauled again.
Yeah.
Because this is a matter of, we have very, very, very sharp people, very good educated. We also have very good policies if they are handled properly. But the people that we have are the problem. They don't want. They want to do everything for their own interests.
Which people?
Now the office, the managers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They whatever they do, they just want to to put their interests at the front, such that now when it is time to reap the fruits of what we did, because it did not start yesterday. No. This is just a result, and the government is finding itself between a hard place and a rock. The problem did not start yesterday. It's about the people who are there. When you're given a position like that one and you want to make yourself comfortable in that one, then maybe you leave it. Sometimes somebody else comes, because we are in a changing world. Then he may not manage it the way you visualized it, and then one thing after the other. Here we are now.
Kevin, yesterday you attended the meetings that we saw how all that ended. The cabinet secretary spoke, and immediately after that we saw that gentleman who spoke and said, we did not agree on this. What happened in the meeting? Why have two sets of information from the same meeting?
Okay. I was there, although I left earlier because I had some other engagement before the completion of that meeting. But we had discussed about the reduction of fuel, and there are some negotiations that were in there where the members of the Matatu operators were saying that diesel should be reduced from 246 to at least by 30 shillings. And they were looking at options now. What option do you have? The government said we can only reduce it by 8 shillings. And where we'll get that money, we'll have to increase the cost of kerosene. But when you look at kerosene, I think the kerosene used in Kenya is about 5 million liters per month. So the subsidy that goes to kerosene is only 500 million, which is $500 million. When they bring this $500 million to caution the diesel, it is not enough. It was coming to only 1 point something shilling. So it could not reduce anything tangible. So they had to look for subsidy for the next month for around 2 billion. So when that 2 billion came, that is what cautioned it to around 8 shillings now. But the minister said, okay, let's go. We had a long negotiation, so they said, let's go and discuss, then we'll come back and at least say, give you an option. But as they were leaving, they said, okay, we have agreed on 2 parameters, but we'll come again and have another discussion. So I think, but when the CS came back, he said that we have agreed, and that's where some of the members were not okay with that, and they said, no, we didn't agree. We said we'll come back again. Although you have received your 10 shillings that you have reduced, we are happy with that, but we did not agree that everything is okay. We will have another day to discuss again and come up with a better solution. So that's what transpired yesterday.
One would ask the question then, if you look at those who are offering transport services in the Matatu sector, I remember that gentleman saying, we are not striking because we do not want to offer service. It's because we are fighting for Mwananchi, right? I just want to understand what is making it difficult. Just break it down, what it means to fuel your car and offer that service.
There were some calculations that were done by the owners of the Matatus. And when you look at the cost, it's true, everybody agreed that they are making losses. Because you find this guy with the current price, per day they have the cost of fuel on Matatu has increased by 6,000 shillings. So when they were doing their calculation, if you have a loan and all those things, you remain with 2,000 shillings as a profit at the end of the day. So this 200 you have to pay the makanga, you have to pay yourself, you have to pay other expenses, which was becoming very difficult for them. And that's why they were trying to negotiate. Okay, let's see how this diesel prices can come down to a lower margin. But the government was also on between a hard rock because they were saying this diesel, the prices has increased. It was around 600 per barrel, but now it is 1,000 plus per barrel. So you see, it has doubled. But in Kenya, also what they were trying to say is that if they were not cautioning Kenyans on this fuel through subsidy, then the 1 liter at the moment should be sold at 300 shillings plus. So, but through the caution, that's why it came to 246, because the barrel, and they asked to Google last month, it was going at 600 USD. At the moment, it's going over 1,000 plus. So that is where the challenge is.
Do you think it's justifiable reasoning?
Logically,
that now that they're buying oil at $1,000 a barrel, and before it was $600 a barrel. So if they hadn't cushioned that, we would actually be in an even worse place at 300. Does that make sense to you? Do you think that that's a justifiable reasoning?
Logically, with the open-minded, it makes sense.
Okay.
But when we look at the government now as a father, then sometimes it might not make sense to some people, because people want more from the government, want government to caution them. That's why they were saying, I remember a gentleman said that you have a baby and the baby is very hungry. Then you have food. But this food you are to share between a baby with another person. So whom will you choose? And even Wazir said, I will first of all give my baby the food to eat. So it is the government is finding it is between two different lines that are very heavy for them to carry.
I want to bring in Joseph. As Gipeda, as individuals who distribute petroleum in the country, I want to look at the taxes and how easy is it for you to do your business. Are taxes high for you to run your business? Is it the reason why today we see the cost of fuel over the roof?
Precisely. It is about government taxes and levies, which goes up to about 58% of the cost, of the price.
Yeah.
That is why you find even other neighboring countries who actually, you see, the companies which are operating in Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, most of them are headquartered here in Kenya. They are the people who import the product. And then they decide, no, with Kenyan taxes, it's too much. Let us sell it to the neighbors, such that now the product that is in Uganda is the same product here. But then now to export, to sell the product to the neighbors, now they don't incur those taxes like Kenya. So Kenya, everything, the setup is just suspicious from the origin, from the start to the end.
So Joseph, I would be right.
They're the same people. The MD here is the one who will decide what will be sold in Uganda. It is the same product. It came with the same ship. If I import maybe 1,000 liters, then I'll decide out of these 1,000 liters, I will sell 600 liters in Uganda. Then I remain with 400 liters. There is even a whole section in the system, KPC, which whose work is to now send this amount of product to Uganda. No, I won't sell mine here. Let it just go. So they are the same people.
Yeah.
We are dealing with the same people.
So, Joseph, I would also be right to say, or to assume, let me assume, because I'm not a professional in that space, that we all agree today. You are asked to Google, you Googled, and it's fact that it went up from 600 to 1,000, right? Mm-hmm. We agree cost of crude has gone up. Mm-hmm. But the reason why we find ourselves at the pump spending more is based off the law that was passed that has put in place levies that in turn makes fuel in Kenya expensive. That the solution then that we are all seeking is that the cabinet secretaries, together with the president and parliament, sit down, review the levies, and automatically the price of fuel will go down.
Exactly. That is what should happen. But now the guys, for me, today I'll just talk about the people in the offices because they are supposed to be thinking, thinking.
I'm concerned about who these people are that you
office bearers.
Which office are we talking
Ministry?
about here?
Ministry, like now, yesterday.
The president?
When they, after the meeting.
Yeah.
How do you describe or interpret, you've just finished a meeting and then somebody there and there decides to talk lies. You see, mpaka watu wadogo.
Yeah.
They are forced to stand there na kusema si hivyo tumezungumza mkubwa.
Yeah.
Na hii ni aibu.
Okay.
Na kama anaweza kufanya aibu in front of people, what about when he's locked in his office?
In his office.
And all these systems, the setup, they're suspicious. They are bad. In fact, what is happening in Kenya is not even about logic. I mean, vitu ambazo mnaweza sit down and talk. Is we sit down and start discussing. And before we even start discussing, I'm already suspecting you.
I want to go back to this cost because it is indicative of then what is going to happen. So there are two sides who are talking about the fact that one thing that everybody has agreed on is that the price is high.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Coming from the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, the price is high. It is. Coming from the folks who have to buy it, it is high. The end user, then for whom a lot of this responsibility is dumped, also agrees that the price is high. But let's look at the details, shall we? How much is a barrel of crude today selling for, Kevin?
It is a slightly above $1,000.
Not possible. Divide that by 10.
That is 100.
Yes. Mm-hmm. A barrel of crude today, if it goes really high, is $112. $112.
Yeah.
It moved maybe $3 in the last 3 weeks. Even with the issues around the Strait of Hormuz, the selling rate of a barrel of oil today is $112. And that's come with the intervention of the United States here and there and said, okay, let's move things around a little bit because then they had to then cushion the cost. But it's $112. It has shifted $3 in the last 3 weeks. So can that really be used as an excuse as to why the price has shifted specifically in Kenya, around the world? Or are we looking at a scarcity of the product because the channel for movement then has been compromised? So when we make an argument, what are we making that argument based off of?
Now, if you, because this thing is affecting the whole world.
Yeah.
Now, unless Kenya has a side, issue which they want to settle with some money, and they now have a window to get some more money, then we should not be experiencing this.
Yeah.
So I think, just like I'm saying, Kenyans, we are just suspicious because those are the kind of managers that we have for our lives.
Kevin,
Yes.
in that meeting, did you trust what was being said? Did you trust that a minister, cabinet secretary, would stand after that meeting and give you a solution to lowering the price of fuel, whereas there has been no move of amendment of the law that describes how much fuel will be sold in the country? Did you at any point trust that there would be a solution after that meeting?
Yeah, because all those things were put bare on the table. We had two options. We had what we call quick wins, then long-term wins that we might need to go to the parliament. So as we started the discussion, we had some hopes and trust. We trusted each other first. We asked ourselves, let's trust and believe in each other that we are going to come out with a solution at this table. And the ministers put down the quick wins. What can be done to caution, to quickly lower the fuel? Because there are some things that are possible. We have others that are not even possible. Even the president, if the president was to give an executive order, it was not possible until it goes back to the parliament. So whatever that was possible was to get the subsidy money from the next month's subsidy to this month, so that they caution. That is quick wins.
That was
then
a quick in your assessment. That was a quick win.
Yes,
to wait until June 14th.
No, not until June 14 to get a subsidy as per yesterday, the 10 shillings that they brought.
Yeah,
that was a quick win because they had to get some money from the subsidy of next month to this month. The month that was supposed to subsidize the fuel for next month, it was brought back to this month, at least to get the 10 shillings. Then the long term was now to get the parliament to amend some acts to ensure that now if they can remove some taxes for fuel to come down. Yeah, but we were looking at what can be done now so that the people of Kenya can enjoy lower fuel cost.
And you didn't find anything?
We only found 10 shillings from all that thing.
Okay, so the 10 shillings was not going to make it, obviously, because what that did is that then it reduced diesel.
Yes.
So petrol prices were going to remain the same. Diesel was going to reduce by 10 shillings.
Yes.
But then kerosene, paraffin was going to increase by 10 shillings.
Not 38 shillings.
That was going to increase by 38 shillings, right? So the money that you moved from here, you essentially just put it somewhere else, and somebody was going to bear the brunt of that expense. So it wasn't really a solution. It wasn't a solution. You sat for hours and came up with because it was not a solution. It was not an answer to the problem that Kenyans are having today, where we are saying, excuse me, it is too expensive. Let me let you into a reality that was being faced by folks yesterday. The people who would normally pay 50 shillings from point A to point B were now being asked to pay 150. That people who were paying 30 shillings were being asked to pay 120. A vehicle that you would normally pay 350 shillings for was being charged 1,200 yesterday. That was the reality. So people were saying, and this is now maybe when we start to sink into what Joseph is saying, that the people who are managing this process are bungling the process at the same time. Because in what reality will you allow your people spend 3 times the transport cost in a system that's not even a transport system in the first place, in a public transport system in the first place, and see that that's okay, and come back and tell people, well, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place? Okay, but there could be something else. That these problems, Joseph is saying, did not start with this month's IPRA announcement. These are things that have been long in the running. And so how do you solve long-term problems? And we seem to have an issue with that. And it seems that as though this impasse is going to be there for a minute if there is the reluctance to reduce the taxes and levies on fuel. That's that's where it is. That you can't reduce the landed cost because the thing has already gotten here. But can you do something about the cost as pertains to the levies and taxes that have been applied to it? Do we not see any sense in that? Or does this conversation just find its way down the drain?
I think because of the policies that are there, for fuel to come down, there must be a hand from Parliament. So it is now between the Parliament to amend the acts and so that some taxes can be reduced. So that's where we are. For us to get any serious tangible solution, it needs the hand of Parliament.
To
but
do
no
what?
budget.
To do what?
To amend the taxes.
Okay.
The tax laws. Yeah.
So tax laws must be amended.
Must be amended. And you see right now even the CSS are hand-tied. They can't do anything. If you do anything, you are abusing the law. You are against the law. So for us to get a serious, tangible thing on these fuel issues, the parliament must come in, amend the taxes.
Joseph, what we're seeing today is, I call it a ping-pong game. Because where we find ourselves today is based off, like you said, decisions that were made way back. It's the reason why we find ourselves here today. That today, even if Kenyans will go to the streets, Matatu operators, everybody in the transport sector would down their tools today. Unless we go back to Parliament and the law is changed, we will see no change. Because anything that would happen outside the law is illegal. That it's two things. Either an executive order comes that would change things, or Parliament moves in earnest and change things. What you're seeing today will continue. That the cabinet secretary cannot come and tell us that they have lowered, not even the president can lower the cost of fuel.
And this is what the system is trying to do. Because I saw a press release last night, very late. The one now is supposed to be reducing the price by 10 shillings and increasing kerosene. I saw it very late at night. And I was asking, when we had a similar issue some times ago, nothing could happen before it is taken to the parliament. Even the last month when the president declared that 8% of VAT, still the parliament had to come back and ratify that. Such that for me it is still very hard, and I'm waiting to see what is going to happen, because our policies, I think they're very good when you observe them. But the implementers, morals in our leadership is completely rotten. And the attitude, I'm still disturbed by how, what hiyo kiburi. You can just kuzungumza na watu like 30. And then hapo tu naamuka na kusema si ndivyo tumekubali, and it was gazetted.
I have a question.
Yeah. No, it's about the people who are managing this.
I hear what you're saying, and I to an extent understand that. But the Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, who's responsible for regulating the cost of fuel and its products. Hang on. Every month on the 14th, we get this, announcement that this is what is going to happen. That doesn't go through an act of parliament. By the time these levies and taxes are appropriated or accorded to this fuel, it doesn't go through parliament. But here we are, and we are saying, in order to have any of that reversed, Kevin, that we then must have the CSs hand-tied, and that we must now go back to parliament for parliament to see how they can reverse some of the charges on these levies and taxes. Please, help me understand.
I just say something on that? Now, when EPRA is doing their calculations for the month, they are able to know, because even from the time of quotations, they know the prices, the landing costs. But you may see whenever on the 14th, they even release some prices very late. It is not because they didn't know the prices, but it is because they have to engage other forces so that they are given a go-ahead. It is not about the policies. Now we come back again to individuals.
For what? I think you're trying to say something,
Yes,
Joseph,
yes,
without
yes,
saying
yes,
it. Here is that, yes, you keep talking about these people who are
Yes,
lurking in some
the
shadow,
authorities.
who are the ones who then give authority to
authorities.
IPRA to either reduce or increase the price. It sounds as though
I'll bring my proposal and the facts. I've done my calculations, I've explained everything, but you have to approve it.
Okay.
Now, it is upon you, the way you will feel, the way you will want it, to approve so that it becomes effective. So, is it the mathematics or is it the individual?
Kevin, we've noted that the Boda Boda Association has not joined the shutdown calls. Why is that?
Okay, it is not that we have not joined, but you see, we say the demonstrations or keeping away from work, it's an individual decision. Remember, even when the pronouncement was made for Mugomo, they said the roads should be open. And you see, your right should not infringe into another person's right.
Okay.
You know, you have a right to come here and work. Another person has a right to go and do his work. So what we say as a sector is that depending on your need, you can either join or go and work.
Okay.
You have that freedom. And that's what we gave our people. Because I don't know what is ailing you today. I don't know if you slept hungry yesterday and you really want some 10 shillings to continue your life. So we gave it a blanket open check so that you fix in. If you see that it is really hurting you and you cannot manage, join the rest. But you feel that today you are hurt and you must at least get something to eat, because the city is not like in the village where you will go and get some arrowroot and something. So we gave our people an open check that, this is something that is ailing the country. It is true the fuel is expensive, but you do what you feel it is right for you. Yes, and do it in a way that you don't infringe in somebody's right. I think that is by the Constitution. It gives us freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and anything that you want, you can do it freely.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Joseph, do you think that there is something that can be done to alleviate the current situation that we find the nation in at the moment?
Yes, there is. This is, most of these things, they are just the same principles which we also operate with even in our houses. And sometimes you might find yourself, I gave the wrong instructions here, or I did not handle this thing properly. So what you do, you just, undo what you did, and then reset. Only that now this is a big thing because it's a national thing, but it will demand an overhaul of whatever is affecting the prices. There are so many levies in the petroleum which can be put aside. We have to suspend even those countries which are other countries in the world. They are suspending some things which are not necessary. There are times when we want to do development, but when there is a calamity or a problem, a severe problem, then we can stop these ones first and handle whatever will have us survive. Such that some of these levies, they are not necessary at the time being. We will still have time to develop. We'll still have time to do other things and travel. But if you have a sick person in the house, then you need to really think about it and put some things on hold. Yeah.
From a distribution point of view, so fuel is being distributed to stations around the country, is it?
Not yet. You see,
Really?
that is another thing that people are talking about now. I heard somebody saying, is it about availability of the product or the price? Even even the product is not available because of the price. So let us talk about the prices so that now the product can be available.
Because what are petrol stations making on top of this? I mean, two shillings a litre. What is the margin of profit that they're making upon what they buy it for and what they sell it for around the country?
Now we have two sides of the dealership, because we have the multinationals with their stations, and we have the independents, now us. Now we as independents,
yes,
we don't have our product. We don't import.
You just buy it when it's here.
Yes.
Yeah.
From these measures.
Okay.
Now, when they say that we only have enough for us, for their stations, then we are left without. And if you're going to get anything from, a friendly gesture, then you'll be given 2 shillings as your profit.
So you would buy it for, let's say, diesel, for example, that's now retailing at 246 shillings. You would buy it for 244 shillings.
Yes.
That's what's happening currently.
That's what has been happening,
Okay.
so that you can access the product. Maana mtu anakwambia hii ni ya mtoto, I can't give you. It's for my children. But kama nitakupatia ni kidogo tu na kwa bei hii. You have to give me more money so that I get some more for my children. Hii mambo mwingine unasikia ya subsidy. They are refusing because hii pesa serikali si ya kwamba inalipa hapo. Inakuwekea for 6 months.
Okay.
Sasa inaanza mvutano tena, you have not paid my subsidy for the month, Sasa tena no, ngojeni. I don't have cash to buy that product. So the little that I can buy, I'll spare it for my petrol stations. It's very complicated.
It does sound so. And then that people don't worry themselves with the details of it, but that at the end of the day, people want to then be able to purchase a commodity that is not so expensive. What do you see the day looking like today, Kevin?
Today, again, there's no movement at all. All the matatus are home. And I think the country is losing so much. The earlier we get the solution to this issue, the better for the country. You can imagine how much the government lost on revenues yesterday, how much is being lost today, even tomorrow, maybe if the matatus will not join the roads to ferry people. So I think the government must rethink. They should sit down and rethink as fast as possible to ensure that our economy moves forward. Yeah. They should just come up with a solution even today before the end of the day and say, okay, we have, because what our people were asking for is not even everything. They said, okay, give us 30%, 30 shillings decrease.
Yeah.
So they gave us 10, we are remaining with only 20. If they can do something about the 20 that is pending, so that people can go back to work. Yeah. But as we speak right now, everything outside there stands still. You see, you can't even hear any voice, noise outside there. Yeah. So there's a big challenge. Yeah.
So we're looking at another shutdown today, then going into the day where likelihood of getting a solution is unknown at the moment. Is it too simplistic? And I think just like to get a clear answer to this. Is it too simplistic to imagine that those involved, the stakeholders, would then come out and say, well, you know what? We can suspend levies. We can reduce taxes, because this is the problem here. That it is not the cost of fuel that's the problem. It is the levies and taxes that have been applied to it that then double the cost plus some on top. So can something be looked at? Because, I mean, one of the things that came out clearly is that, well, if we take away the 25 shillings that's on the road maintenance levy fund, then how are we going to maintain your roads? And there was the answer to that, well, you're not maintaining them anyway, so you might as well take that out so that we're at least down 25. You only have 5 more shillings to find after that. It sounds simplistic. But the reasoning behind this is, if the road maintenance levy fund, well, I mean, we're being told that some of that money is used to build the Rironi Mau Summit Road. But that one of the main reasons that we were told is that there are potholes in roads, that roads will not be maintained if you remove 25 bob. I reckon if you take the 25 shillings from the RMLF, you only have 5 shillings left to find that folks are saying, you can find it here and there. Nip 4 shillings at the pump and you can be down to 18 shillings. Nip another 1 shilling here off VAT at BS7 Bob. Very few countries around the world charge VAT on fuel. There you have the 30 shillings that the folks are looking for. From where I sit, it is possible to come up with a solution. But it seems as though a blunder might have already been made that precludes you from making that simple solution. So isn't it what you're saying that's true, Joseph? You need to go back to the source of the problem and figure it out. It's not a made problem. This was not a problem that sprung up on you on the 14th of May. It was before. Yes. But here we are saying, we need to find something quickly. No, go into it. So yes, take the RMLF money of 25 bob. Take it away. Because you're not maintaining the roads anyway. And you're doing things on illegality when it comes to the Mironi Mau Summit Road anyway. It's uncontracted. So how about we suspend that for a minute because you're not doing anyway. Dindin Yoro said we can take 4 shillings away from the pump and make it 18 bob instead of 22. You already have your 29 bob that the folks are saying that we need to then be able to make sense at the pump. So you can even do 29 bob. There, in this 5 minutes, we've got you 29 shillings. Why is it so difficult to then say, let's go ahead and do it?
You see, some of these things, and rightly what you're saying, it's just like how we manage our places, our homes. If you had promised a child a new uniform this time, and then something happens and there is no money, you tell the child, you tell the teacher, I'm not buying a new uniform. He or she can use this one for the moment. So such that this road development and what they can be suspended. And Kenyans are very productive. They are very innovative. They can make this money again if you enable them, if you give them what they need to do whatever they know how to do it. Such that you just create an easy way, a soft avenue for them to exercise whatever they want to do, and they will get back the money back to you. I think it is possible. It is possible. Let them remove the taxes, and the fuel will flow, and the people will work, and we shall reap the products.
Do you think that can work? I mean, because we can say, well, do anything, reduce the prices, but we found some money here. And somebody was saying, I'm being impractical, Kevin, but we found some money here that can actually be moved around. You've done it before. You've suspended VAT to the tune of 8%. You've reduced money here and then been able to find it. You can do something because the country is bleeding at the moment. We found some money. Why would it be so difficult to just apply it?
Yeah, I think the difficulty is in the laws that...
oh, come on, Kevin. When IPRA was increasing this money after regulating, they did not go to Parliament and say, excuse me, by the way, we're going to increase fuel by 46 shillings.
Let me tell you something that happens. You know what IPRA does, my friend here said, there's already formulas. So it depends with the landing cost. Once they use the landing cost, feed into the system, it generates the formulas as per the law that is already there. Everything.
Who inputs the formula?
Okay, you see now there is this 8% VAT. You know it's already there. So when the fuel lands, the VAT of 8% must be there, unless it is removed by the parliament.
Let me give you an example, Kevin. If I'm on my computer, right, and I am typing a document and I want to save it, and I say Control S, I don't even have to go type file, whatever. I just say Control S, it saves the document.
Yes.
If I'm still typing and I say Control Z,
You delete
everything. If I say Control A, I highlight everything, Control C. That's a formula, isn't it?
Yes.
But somebody designed the formula and put it in the system.
Yes.
It didn't just find itself there by the miracle of
now
God.
that's somebody's parliament. They designed the laws, they put there the taxes, they blocked everything. Now, whatever you do, you have to follow. You have to control and S, to control and A to highlight everything.
Do you think
control and Z to delete? If you do control and L, it won't delete.
Do you think IPRA is willing to say to Parliament, you know what, guys, we and the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy, we really want to reduce this price. So please, Parliament, can you rework the formula? Do you think that's the conversation that's being had?
Yeah, that's the conversation we had
EPRA is
yesterday.
having a conversation right now about asking Parliament to rework the formula so that we can have reduced fuel costs.
In fact, that is what we discussed yesterday. And that's why what we sent them to look at all the options that are available, all options that are possible for fuel to come down. And those were some of the issues that they were looking at on tax amendments, subsidies, to see how can this be possible. Yeah. So they just have to go back to Parliament and find some quick solutions on this. Yeah. Without Parliament, there's nowhere we are going. Yeah.
You see, if it was like before, when the boss says, now I want this thing to work, and you are given, it is thrown on your table like that, then you have to. But when, on the contrary, when you come with facts and present them to your boss and tell them, now this one is becoming hard, is not working. Now you approach the problem from two different sides. Now, if EPRA, like what I read from yesterday's statement, now if the minister had been told, don't go beyond 10 shillings,
that is what I'm asking. There is somebody who is pulling the puppet strings
so
when and this is the person who needs to decide what needs to happen.
Now, at the end point, you find that people are. It's like they are sensing ya kwamba kuna kitu hapo, kuna mtu nyuma ya tent hapo, ule ambaye ana pull the, such that hii kitu ndio sababu haiendi. Na tutaenda. Tusimamishe kila kitu mpaka yule yuko nyuma ya tent atokeleze.
Joseph.
Yes. It's not mathematics. Mathematics people can do. The facts are there. And we know. We touch these things, but now, yule mtu ana adjust temperatures.
All right, so there's a spoon in the soup that obviously there's something, because I'm going to go back to that thing, the formulas that we talk about, and you say that this rests right in the hands of Parliament. But then if IPRA, if the folks who are actually regulating this thing, because what you're telling us is that all they do is that they say, okay, in the month of May, landing costs 117 shillings. All right, they put it into the system, and the jukebox goes, and then this is the amount that you get out. And the only way to change that, they're basically saying that IPRA they can't do anything about it. Because if Parliament doesn't come in and do the magic that Parliament may do, that IPRA has their hands up and there's nothing that they can do about the regulation of this price until Parliament comes in and says they need to reject the formula. Parliament. Now, do you think IPRA is saying, you know what, actually, it's really tough for Kenyans at the moment? And if that was the case, why would the CS Treasury yesterday say, you know what, we actually have to ride out this wave of difficulty until IPRA comes back on the 14th of June and tells us how things will change? Why didn't he say, let's ask Parliament to tell IPRA what to do? Why?
I don't know why he said that, but I think he was also trying to, he has his mandate up to where his mandate reaches. So when he say IPRA, I think IPRA now is the one to advise the Parliament on, because that's their mandate to regulate fuel. And if they find that now the landing cost of the fuel is very high and the Kenyans cannot afford, yet there are some taxes, I think it is IPRA to advise the CS for petroleum to talk to the Parliament so that Parliament can amend some laws and remove the taxes that are there that are affecting Kenyans. But all in all, I think what we are looking for is a solution, and we gave the government time to go and look for those solutions. And we are hoping that by the end of the day, at least there must be something. If they came down to 10 shillings, I'm sure they can come down again to whatever margin that is available that will be acceptable to all the members that were there. Yeah.
Okay, so what does it look like from your point of view today, Karanja, in terms of what will happen? We know the roads are empty at the moment. Folks are still hoping against hope that, there will be one vehicle that passes by, and that could be imagery for, we hope that there is something that somebody's having a conversation about and saying, come on, guys, bring the thing down. And this is just fuel. It could be something else tomorrow. But we're also seeing that the reaction of Kenyans today is a compounded reaction about a number of things that they're just not satisfied with. Fuel is just one of them. If this is not dealt with, the possibility of other things now coming out then is very high.
You see, once the prices, once people start using these prices, it will affect every other area of the economy. And the worst thing that is going to happen, is that once those other areas have been affected, even if you adjust this price, unga itabaki ikiwa juu, mandizi itabaki ikiwa juu, fare itabaki ikiwa juu, everything.
Yeah.
Such that now, these people should be dealing with this thing very carefully. Because leo hii, kisiagi ikipandishwa bei, do you think that itarudi nyuma? It won't.
It will be tough.
Bei ikipandishwa haitarudi nyuma. Wewe teremsha bei ya diesel, lakini zile vitu zingine zishakuwa affected.
I hear what you're saying.
Such that now I think we need very serious people kwenye hizi controls. Yes.
We're looking, Joseph Karaja today is looking for the man behind the tent. And
Yes.
he's insistent that there's somebody else who needs to come out into the open and tell people what's going on.
We can.
He's the chairman of the Kenya Independent Petroleum Distributors Association. Kevin Mubadi is the chair of the Boda Boda Association of Kenya. Have been our guest this hour. It's day 2 of a nationwide shutdown. Let's see what happens. There seems to be some conversations that will be happening in the back room. Hopefully they come to the front of the stage. Asante sana, gentlemen, for being here with us this morning. Good morning, 9 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The latest news from around the world. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.